Magic the Hip Hop Magician, and I'm Shakim the Clan.
It's showtime!
Hello, Internet. Tony here, and I've been told you want to know what really happened when international terrorist Keanu Silverstein destroyed Arasaka Tower, sending society into a new era. On this engram is the only true version of the story of what's happened that day, not whatever the corporations try to feed you. This is the story of John Constantine. Constantine is a third-person action game for the 5th generation of consoles, not you, NPC. We'll be covering the PS2 version because I'm a very biased man. For context, this is a tie-in movie game, published by the goats of tie-in trash, TH Qua. Constantine was released February 14th, 2005, 4 days before the film premiered, and the perfect time to hide from the feelings of loneliness that are encroaching on your soul. Constantine the movie is an adaptation of the Hellblazer comic published by DC's Vertigo label, being an imprint for adult-oriented books headed by writers from the American comic industry's British invasion. In the simplest terms, the Hellblazer comic follows John Constantine, a cynical sorcerer who deals with all sorts of paranormal problems from both heaven and hell. Constantine, the 2005 movie starring Keanu Reeves, has Constantine investigating a suicide connected to a ritual to reincarnate the son of the devil. The game we're covering here has a similar story overall, most likely based on an earlier version of the script, but this plot bores me, so I'm going to take a few creative liberties in my retelling. We'll start here following this young boy, Robert John Linder, and his best friend Bill. They find a time machine after having their minds ruined by Little Dark Age edits, choose to time travel to ancient Rome, but they miss their target by a few centuries. Bill was quickly slain along with the time machine by pagan extremists, giving John the sole goal of converting all of Rome to Christianity as revenge. Taking on the name Constantine the Great, John Constantine the Great. Using the clout he gained from the Constantinian shift, he trained in the ancient magics of the papacy, making him a level 13 sorcerer with access to one 7th level spell slot. With his entire life's goal complete, John basked in his empire. Then the Turks came. John fought valiantly, even after having his arm severed. Realizing he could never win, John cast a spell, launching him forward in time, leaving behind the world he loved, to the year 2003, where he was given his infamous Silver Hand. Missing the battlefield, he enlisted in the Second Central American War. But this was different. War had changed. It no longer had the honor like the battlefields of old. It became robotic and lifeless. So John left the military and became a private investigator and a rocker boy. Using transmogrification magic, he would hide his Silver Hand, living a double life as John Constantine, paranormal investigator, and Johnny Silverhand, living legend. But you can only live a double life for so long. Arasaka had discovered John's secrets and made a deal with Lucifer using comp-based technology, contacting Satan through the deep net, and an alliance was formed. Arasaka and Lucifer planned on resurrecting Satan's son, Atom Smasher, at the top of Arasaka Tower, using John's partner Alt as a sacrifice, shifting the power of hell over into the mortal plane. Can John Constant Hand save the day?
Told you, Johnny boy. Told you I'd end you someday.
Huh. I guess not. Now that we have that amazing and totally real plot out of the way, how is the gameplay in this game? I'm gonna keep it real. Not great. You may be asking, Tony, why did you finish and play this game to begin with? And my only response is, I still don't know. I just couldn't stop. Something was compelling me. I played through 14 levels of this blasted game, and much like a passive-aggressive lover, the moment I started enjoying it, it took it all away from me. Constantine is a third-person run-and-gun game affair. Imagine Max Payne, but without any sauce. We have an angry white man in a leather jacket running around in an urban setting, gunning bitches down. You see, Johnny Boy here has an interesting kit. We got dual revolvers just like me on Nuketown, the Crucifier, a nail gun with the power of God and anime on its side, the Dragon's Breath, which I quote from the manual is no ordinary flamethrower loaded with pressurized copper chambers which contain the fire of dragons. It shoots out a continuous jet of mystical fire. What the fuck does that even mean? I don't know. Fuck you, magic. The Purger, also known as Crom the Death God's crossbow. What, you haven't done the raid for Crom yet? Get back to me when you have legendary Chapel Boy robes. And lastly, the only gun from the movie, the Holy Shotgun. Each of the enemies have guns that are optimal to use against them. There are also secondary weapons. Holy water bombs acting as your generic frag grenade. The Amityville Screech Beetle is a reusable stun grenade that can get stuck under map geometry, so if you lose it, it's gone for the rest of the level. What a neat mechanic. And lastly, the Shroud of Moses, which acts as a screen wipe attack where everything fucking dies. I don't remember that from the Bible. But wait. There's more. What's a sorcerer without his spells? That's right, another psych ward patient on the loose. Our spell list is actually vast and pretty interesting. Stormcrow, our first spell, is an AoE screen wipe. Confusion, a spell I didn't use much, makes enemies take on the appearance of John to attract aggro from others. Gargoyle, a spell which turns all enemies to stone. Demon Leech, a spell I should have used more that redirects all demon magical attacks. We'll come back to that. I use this spell for one boss fight where the player has to, and then never again. And the last spell in our arsenal, Hunger, a spell created by the medieval warlock Asmongold, where you summon an army of bugs to eat your enemies. A smart student of the magical arts would probably use these spells creatively, but I have ascended by spamming Stormcrow. There are no enemies to cast other spells against to begin with. Magic also has an interesting way of being casted, where time slows down and you get the prompt to press the face buttons in a certain order. Okay. This concept is neat. Each button is a syllable, and to cast a spell, you need to combine multiple syllables to make the magic happen. My issue is you already selected the spell on the UI before casting it, then it becomes a quick time event, so there's no real skill level involved. When this could have been like the PS1 hidden gem, Legends of Legaia, where the 4 face buttons each represent a set action, then combining them in different orders would result in different spells. Instead, when there's a lot of enemies, well, it's time to select Gargoyle, freeze time, follow the prompt, success. It could have just been a magical slowdown time button where you drop some scat, and then if you're extra skilled, you could combine Gargoyle with Stormcrow. It was almost a perfect system. I apologize, that was very unprofessional of me. Now it's time to lock in, which is what Constantine does every time he travels between Earth and Hell. The coolest part of the levels, if you ask me. Have you ever found yourself in this situation? I locked myself out of my apartment. Here's a trick that Big Locksmith doesn't want you to know. Drop an ego, pour set param, because luckily for me, the wall of my apartment's entrance was destroyed by a thrall of Nurgle who farted on it, allowing me to get inside and then shift back to the mortal plane in my own living room. All the Mortal World environments are dingy in the coziest way possible, and it reminds me of the alleys I'd piss in after seeing local shows back home. Earlier I mentioned Max Payne, and that's because this game really does remind me of it. I really think the devs were inspired when creating this game. I can't blame them. Max Payne with magic sounds like a cool concept that even Remedy themselves have came back to. So why does the movement in this game suck? I may just be ass, but I've never walked into so many doorways in one game. It feels slippery, and movement is really limited, so you're just walking around and have a 180 turn to shoot enemies behind you, and that was the most disappointing part of this game. If it had a dive, it could have been a hidden gem, but now it's just worst ghost hunter, and you already made slow-mo a thing. Why isn't there magical bullet time? Sure, it isn't in the movie or comic accurate, but neither are any of the weapons and spells in this game. But I want to end on a positive note for the gameplay segment. So the most impressive part of this game is these cloth physics. That's not even a joke, I was just pleasantly surprised. Overall, I'm conflicted on Constantine because it's almost a damn good game, and I bet if it wasn't a movie tie-in, that it would have been. There was a vision for this game, I can tell. I just wish I could see the game the devs probably wanted to make but didn't due to the need to drop it alongside the film. But that's how it was back in the day. So, is it a good game? No, it isn't. But if you like Jank, the movie, or the dream of what could have been, then I recommend you go play this game, you crazy fucking diamond. Tony out. So, what did you think of the real history of Johnny Silverhand Kid? What do you mean the engram was just a plugin for my YouTube channel? Fuck you. Thanks for the view, gonk.
I'm showing hole at the Waffle House. Bring me a small sack of blueberry pancakes. showing my hole at the Waffle House. Bacon eggs.